Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Netflix British black comedy, drama, thriller miniseries, Baby Reindeer. A 7-episode series that stars Richard Gatt, who also wrote this and is based on an actual event that happened in his life. And it also stars Jessica Gunning. And I didn't know anything about this show, but there was so much online chatter about this show and how well written and how well acted this show is. I said, well, let me check it out. I really didn't feel like committing myself to binge watching an entire series over the last few days. I just wanted to chill at the house and kind of regroup and recalibrate for the work week. And so I didn't want to sit down and watch an entire series, binge watch. Normally I do, but this weekend I didn't want to do it. And I sat down, I said, you know what? I'll watch a couple of episodes, maybe catch up with it a couple of days later or whatever the case. I watched this in one sitting, all 7 episodes of this series. And in case you don't know what Baby Reindeer is about, it's an adaptation of Gatt's autobiographical one-man show of the same name. The series is based on Gatt's real-life experience of being stalked and sexually assaulted in his 20s. So now you ask yourself, where is the black comedy in that? Well, it's funny enough, no pun intended, that this actually is funny. There's a funny show, but it's some serious dark subject matter that we are dealing with in this show. But the comedy kind of breaks the levity. It causes you to continue to watch, because if it was just doom and gloom of what Richard Gatt character is going through in this show, you wouldn't make it through, man. It would be impossible to get through this show. And so the comedy is there, but it's not there just to be there. It flows with the story. This show, and what's so appealing about this show, it is well written. One of the best written shows you're probably ever going to see. Even if you're not a fan of the subject matter or the comedy or whatever, you have to appreciate the construction of this story. Richard Gatt, who plays Donnie Dunn in this show, which is loosely based off of him in real life. I never heard of Richard Gatt until this. I never heard of him, but I really enjoyed him here. I enjoyed his portrayal, his acting, as well as his writing, as I mentioned before. But I really loved his character, what all he goes through. And, this story tells a lot about going after your dreams, being a big dreamer and going after them, and the trials and tribulations you have to go through to get, to achieve that dream, and the letdowns and being used, and the attraction to fame, the addiction to being famous and things of that nature. It covers all of that, and his character goes through all of that, and you can understand his character. It's really broken down well, to whereas you can relate to this character. Everybody, I don't think is a single person who can't relate. Now, that's not to say that you'll do the things that he does in this show. I'm just saying, as far as the vulnerability, him opening up and things of that nature. Loved his character. Jessica Gunning, once again, never seen her in anything before. She's been in things before, but nothing I've seen. She plays Martha Scott here, and she is the stalker in this show. And if there's one negative I have on this show, is her. And this is why. And once I explain why it's a negative, you're going to ask, why is that a negative? It's not a negative in the traditional sense, but it is. I feel that, like, stalkers and, people who commit criminal acts like she does on this show, you're not supposed to feel sympathy. You're not supposed to cheer for them at times, but you do. with with her character, and it's because of her performance. Her performance was so good that you actually felt sympathy for her. In certain scenes, in certain moments of this story, you felt more sympathy for Martha than you did for Donnie. And once again, it's the writing, because these are real human characters. These aren't comic book characters. These aren't sci-fi characters, fantasy characters. This is based in reality. And I actually felt sorry for her, but at the same time, you know, she is who she is, so you want justice for the criminal acts that she do commit in this show. Um, Niva Mew, I believe I'm saying her name right. She plays Terry. She's this therapist that Terry is dating. She's a trans woman. Once again, never seen her in anything. Loved her performance. Thought that was great. And the story being told through her eyes is amazing. You know, between her and Donnie, great story. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Everything about this show works. And it's amazing to me that this show hasn't gotten, I mean, it's getting it now because of the word of mouth and social media presence of it, but how it wasn't pushed to the moon before it was released a couple of weeks ago. Because, like I said, I'm just now coming to it just this past week because of what I've heard, because of word of mouth. I'm like, well, let me check this show out. But this is such a good show. Really, really good show. Uh, Diving into some of the hard subject matters in this show. Episode 4. And if you know anybody who's seen the show, I'm pretty sure they mentioned episode 4 because that's what I heard a lot of. You know, there's a lot of talk about that episode. And it comes on with a disclaimer. So that lets you know right then and there you're in for a treat, and not in a good way. There's a sexual assault in this episode. There's grooming in this episode. There's heavy drug use in this episode. It is deeply disturbing. Deeply, deeply disturbing. And it's hard to watch, really. It's a really hard episode to watch. When I first watched it, I was sitting there wondering, well, what's all the blue ha about? Why everybody's all affected by this episode? You know, after I watched it, I was like, okay, it happened. You know, why is everybody so upset? But it's one of those episodes that sticks with you and makes you think. And that's what it did to me. I thought about it for a little while. And I'm like, man, that was messed up. I mean, it's still right now. It's been about a day. I'm still like, man, that was a messed up episode. You know, it was a messed up period in this guy's life. And my God, bro, I don't know how I even got through it. Episode 6 had one of the greatest monologues of all time on screen. It takes that monologue that we saw in Barbie by America Ferrera and tells it to hold my beer. It is one of the greatest monologues you ever want to hear. And it's soul crushing, heartbreaking for the character of Donnie to just open up and give it all right there. It was amazing. It was, I'm telling you, this was great. I highly recommend this show. Baby Reindeer is one of the best shows that was dropped on Netflix or any other television station or streaming service or whatever the case may be. Well acted, well written, perfectly paced. The episodes, I mean, it's a 7-episode series, but it's not 7 hours of your time. I think every episode is about 30 minutes long. And so you could blaze through it like I did. I was anticipating like hour-long episodes, and that wasn't the case. It was only 30 minutes, but so much story was told, you know, and it makes you think about these other TV shows that are hour-longs and, you know, bang out so much story, but don't tell you nothing, you know. But this show, in 7 episodes, 30 minutes apiece, told you a lifetime of story, and it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like pieces of the story was left out. Everything just felt flushed out. It flowed perfectly, perfectly paced. I mean, the show is perfect. Baby Reindeer, which is currently on Netflix, all 7 episodes available for you to enjoy, gets a letter grade of an A+. Awesome show, highly recommended. I hope everybody checks it out. It's tough. Some of the episodes are tough, but you know, it has to be told and it had to be shown in the way that it was shown in order for you to feel the impact of this story. I would like to know, do you plan to check out Baby Reindeer, or have you checked out Baby Reindeer, and how do you feel about this show? Email this show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about subscribing to the YouTube channel, the KB Radio Network channel, and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Baby Reindeer. I can't wait to speak to you on the next go around. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.